Oh, I didn't even know we started. So we're here. I didn't even know the stream started. So what's up everybody? It's your boy Doggie Diamonds. Oh, why do I have this prodigy up? See, this is how unprepared I am right now. But I am prepared, but unprepared. So what's up everybody? It's your boy Doggie. I just did a show on Prodigy earlier today. So but we're back for part 2 with the brother Sharif Bey. We had to cut the bill the other day because we was at the hour mark, so I didn't want people to get overload. I wanted y'all to be able to digest within the hour mark and really watch it and play it back. And so we're here back for part 2. So introduce yourself to the people.
Yes, sir. Peace, 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 peace. Of Doggie Diamonds world out there. This is Brother Sharif, N.I.L. Bey, Moorish Science Symbol of American, proud Moorish American. I am your brother. And let's get it popping. Let's go.
So the feedback that I was getting different feedback. Good, bad, and different. I really don't, there's really no such thing as bad to me because I don't pay attention to people. But people were coming to me saying, well, why did you have that more? He's not really a more. You should get this more. You should get that more. This one is a more. He knows this. He knows that. What is that about? Like, what is it about? Well, I know with all religion, denominations, or any factions, there's always going to be people that feel like I'm the best Muslim, I'm the best Hebrew, I'm the best Christian. What is that about when some of y'all brothers come before the people? Somebody always come and say, well, he's not the more that you should have. You should have this more. Why? What is that about?
I want to be frank, bro.
There's no filter, so please.
Yes, sir. Let's be frank. You know what it is, bro? What it is, and it's just what it is. People are entertained. They want to be entertained. That's all. What we're talking about here, if we're really talking about consciousness and we're really talking about uplifting people, to uplift somebody means you remove their excuses. And removing people's excuses, bro, removing the excuses for being mediocre, removing the excuses for people to give excuses is not easy, bro. It's a hard pill to swallow. And sadly, what's happened in the world of social media is that people have exchanged real movement for entertainment. And so what happens is when I'm saying, okay, listen, we're talking about increasing our responsibilities, right? A lot of the things that people are now calling Moorish are things that allow you or justify in your mind to run away from being responsible. And that's just the truth. It's just the truth. There is no such thing as rights without responsibilities. And that's what a lot of people want. So people are looking for what they want to hear.
So when I mean, respect to everybody, you know what I'm saying? But I've seen some outlandish claims. I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? I done seen some claims where, man, listen. So you is that the entertainment aspect that you're saying that people want? Okay, okay.
You know what it is too, bro? I'm gonna say this other thing too, right? We all know what it's like in the street when you got the guy that's trying to make you the doja. In other words, he's trying to make you the bullet finder. You know what I'm saying? And we know, and so that's coming from a bad place when you want to put other people in danger at your expense, or you want to encourage something negative. If I want to appeal to Doggie Diamond's lower nature, that's bad. You see what I'm saying? If I'm your brother, I want to be able to tell you what's good for you, even if you don't want to hear it. That's a brother. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of what people are clinging to, calling it Moorish, that we are against, is the things that appeal to lower nature, getting something for nothing. So when people start talking that whole, no, well, I'm an heir to the land and I don't pay tax. Man, if you own a house, you better pay bills, or else, unless you want to live like Daniel Boone out in the woods, and you still got to make agreements with the animals. Come on, man. That's what people want. They want to justify a lack of responsibility. And so there's some people out there that give it to them.
So can you be a Moor?
Here's the answer to that question. I'm glad you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Continue. Can you be a Moor without studying and following the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali?
Incredible question. Here we go. And I'm going to answer it beginning with, here it is. How does a Chinese man become Chinese? Remember in the last show, I said that this is a come home movement. It's an identity movement. We don't make people Moors. You don't become a Moor. That's who we are. That's our old world collective identity. Notice I said collective, not tribal, not ethnic. That's our collective identity. The identity of the African diaspora in the West is Moorish American. That's it. So you don't become that, you are that. That is the other reason, people, why real members of this movement don't make the distinction between us in the temple or in the movement and those that are not. We don't say we're Moors and y'all are Negroes, we're Moors and y'all are Black. That's foolish. And anybody in the organization that does that is not studying. We are the same people. And our issues are everybody else's issues. Me putting a fez on my head and a pin on my lapel don't make me bulletproof. It doesn't make me immune to the law either.
So, yeah. So, Moorish American. Why don't you feel like some of our people be like, man, I ain't no American. I'm a, like, because when we think American, we think Confederacy. We think of that.
Brother?
Go ahead.
Also, too, we think that Europeans have a monopoly on what's American, which is exactly what they want you to think. You see what I'm saying? But what if I showed you proof? Remember, I belong to a research team. Okay. What if I showed you proof that during the framing of the Constitution of the United States, there were what were called free Moors in 5 of the 13 states that literally voted as full citizens for the ratification. So in other words, we didn't all come, that's a lie that we all came here as slaves. That's a lie. But that's what Europeans want you to think. They want you to think you don't have a stake in American society. You see? That's the objective of racism. See what I'm saying? So to say no. Not only am I an American citizen, but I'm a premier American citizen. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't mean I have more rights than you. It means I have just as much a right to the benefit as you do. What we're doing is redefining what Americanism is. See, Europeans hijacked the American ideal. Europeans are not the American ideal. They hijacked it. That's why you have racism. That's why you have white supremacy. See what I'm saying?
So the country on the continent, Morocco, what is your ties to Morocco?
Here we go. Another great question. In the last show, I mentioned that all of the present day countries on African soil are modern and not ancient. The people are ancient. The countries are not. That is a result of European colonialism via the Berlin Conference in 1883. That includes the present Kingdom of Morocco, which exists as it does today since 1956. Remember I said in the last show, pre-colonial Africa was made up of empires, kingdoms, and dominions. And so the Moroccan Empire, as a matter of history, was an African Islamic power that encompassed many different tribes in many different places, not just in Africa, but also in the so-called Middle East, in the Mediterranean, and in Europe. That was all part of the empire, even up until the 1700s. So when we say we're descendants of Moroccans born in America, we're saying we're part of that pre-colonial African diaspora, which is only duplicated in America. See? That's why you have different tribal designations or descendants of different tribal affiliations in America today. But nationality is talking about the socio-political collective, not just an ethnic group. It's what unifies the ethnic groups the same way they were unified before European colonialism.
So with the Fez, why is yours black today? Is it?
Okay, good question. In the organization, right, the Moorish Sign Symbol of America Incorporated, in the Moorish Sign Symbol of America, I'm amped up. I just got done teaching class, so we was punching, kicking stuff. So in the Moorish Sign Symbol of America, the black fez is reserved for the Security and Intelligence Unit or Auxiliary, named the Mufti Corps.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mufti is similar to the Nation of Islam's FOI.
Got you.
Yes, sir.
So that's why. So how do you, if you wanted to join the Moorish Science Temple of America, how do you join the Moorish Science Temple of America?
You come to a meeting and you ask to join. It's just that simple. Nationality is free all over the world. Free. Not, I paid $250 or $1,500 for some nationalization papers. That's a joke. I'm going to tell you why it's a joke. Because nationality deals with allegiance to a nation. You cannot put a price on your lifeblood. That's foolishness. And here's the other thing. We don't nationalize anybody. Let's get that clear. I saw that in a couple of the comments. Nationalization. Please, people, read the definition of nationalization. Nationalization means for a government to take control of private property. Case in point, Saddam Hussein nationalized the oil fields. That's why the private entities got pissed at him. He took government control of private property. Eminent domain is another way of saying nationalize. We don't nationalize people. That means the government is taking physical control of them. See? So I want to clear that up too.
So a lot of the brothers who we hear, yo, he went in court, he defended himself. Was they using some type of Moorish law, or were they using the law?
Okay, we got that stuff, those tactics, and I say we because I was a part of that 25 years ago. We got that stuff from European sovereign citizen patriot organizations, and we're the ones. I was part of the group in the 90s that started the association of those tactics with Moorish identity. So here we are in 2021, when you start saying, no, I don't pay tax, I don't have a driver's license, court doesn't have jurisdiction. When you're saying those things now, it's associated with our face and a fez or a turban. When 20 years ago, it was associated with European racist white supremacists. So point is, can some of that stuff work? Maybe, maybe not. The point is, it ain't got nothing to do with nationality. It has nothing to do with being a Moorish American, any more than a Chinese American would have special liberties because they're Chinese.
Can a white person, aka y'all word European, become a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America?
No.
Why not?
Because the organization is dedicated to teaching our people the things that make them better citizens, and more specifically, nationality and divine creed. Right? I had a student, martial arts student, who identified with a Moorish tribal name. And one day he asked me, he said, do you object to me identifying this way? I said, you identify however you want to identify. Then he said, well, the United Nations Charter speaks to, Declaration of Human Rights says every man has a right to nationality, every man has a right to change their nationality. I said, yeah. I said, where are you from? He said, Utica. What if I was shouting, I'm from Utica? What would you say? He said, I'd say you're false flagging. Okay, there you go. Why would you want to be anything other than what you are? Our organization is dedicated to, it's like me trying to join the Sons of Italy. See? And so it's not even a matter of can Europeans join? It's really a matter of why would you try to be something you are not? You know your nationality. You ask the average so-called white person, you white, they'll say, yeah, okay, whatever. What's your nationality? Oh, I'm German on this side and Swedish. Okay, oh, see? It's our people that have been robbed of that knowledge. And people say, well, it's not important. Well, if it's not important, why were you robbed of it? See what I'm saying?
What about a biracial person?
Oh, see, race and nationality are two different things.
So what if they identify with being part European and part, which we would call African American? Can they join?
Right. Now here is where genetics can play a part. Genetics and sociology play a part, right? Follow me. In American society, you have a so-called biracial or mixed person, right? How are they identified in American society?
It depends. I mean, it's always
Most 90% of the time, black.
Yeah, depend on their genetic makeup, depend on how they look.
On their feet, right? Their visual phenotype, right? Mm-hmm. And if they choose to identify a particular way, if they choose to pass for white. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What does that mean? It tells the truth. Follow me. Race is not genetic. Don't believe me? Look up the American Anthropological Association's response to Federal Directive 15. All the scientific studies prove race, color code race, is an artificial social construct. Artificial social construct. The purpose of this social construct is that it is the foundation of racism. It's the foundation of racism. To that point, anybody talking about they're addressing racism but not addressing color code classification is lying to. All they're doing is managing racism. They're not addressing the real source of the problem.
So why do y'all call them Europeans opposed to calling them white?
When we say something's white, what's associated in sociology with white? What's associated with white? Clean.
Yeah.
Without blemish. Perfect.
Well, not to me, but go ahead.
Spotless. But in general society, this is what this is in general society.
Well, when you're dealing with like a noun, yeah, maybe like you dealing with clothes or something like that. But I don't think people.
Right. But But here's the thing, right? And I understand you. Mm-hmm. But society at large, see, it's like I could call myself whatever I want in my shower. Mm-hmm. How does the society I live in, how do they see it? See, if we want to change a definition, we have to have the power to change the status quo. That's power. You see? But at the present state, white is seen as what? Clean, pure. You see? Black is seen as what? You see?
Beautiful. To me, beautiful. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like to me, black is beautiful. Yes. You know, black is to me, because everything comes out of darkness, though.
Right.
Everything doesn't come from whiteness. Everything comes out of darkness. So
now let me go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Because this is where we're getting into
this. Yes, this is good. This is now. Let me clear up some things. And this is not just for people not in the Moorish movement. This is for members of the Moorish movement too. We don't have a phobia with the word black. Mm-hmm. We don't demonize the word black. We're not scared of the word black, right? Mm-hmm. This is the teaching of Prophet Noble Drew Ali on black. Ready? We do say black according to science means death. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not demonizing people. We also say that while Allah lives, man cannot die because man is not the body or the soul. See that? We also say there's a holy ministry in death. Remember what you said about life springing forth from death? Mm-hmm. That's our teaching. That's our teaching. Life springs forth from death. The word alchemy literally means life from blackness. So when we say black according to science means death, that's ancient Kemetic teaching. Osiris is called Lord of the Perfect Black. He was the funerary deity. He represented death and resurrection. We say the same thing. So when we say the black man, even the Nation of Islam, shout out to my brother and comrade Wesley Muhammad. He and I shared the stage back in Harlem 2013. That's my brother, right? He even agreed. Now, this is the Nation of Islam that uses the term black man liberally. He agreed. He said, listen, the present state of our people in America, man is God. God is dead. Look at our condition.
Where he said that at? Because you know the Nation people would be like, Brother Wesley ain't say that. Where did he say that? Is it on camera? Is it or just sidebar?
I'll send you the video. Okay. Matter of fact, get him on the show. We get on together. We'll talk about it.
That'll be dope. That'll be dope.
Yeah. But it's just, in other words, listen, it's describing our collective condition. Black is an adjective, not a noun. It describes our present condition. Look how we treat each other. Think about it. people in the comment section, some of the negatives in the comment section was upset that I was speaking had good diction. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, look how we treat each other. But if I got up showing the at niggery, everybody be like, oh, that's that dude. Oh, that's the mole right there.
They're bringing up names now in the chat of who I should have on here because somebody said somebody got this and somebody got that. Again, I don't just talk to anybody because I want me to. I talk to people who I like to vet people. I like to watch people for a while, and everybody can't be on my platform because I'm gonna challenge you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to just get along and for real, because I'm just gonna challenge you, and that's why you're gonna keep saying that's a good question, because I'm going to ask questions that people want to know.
I want to say this to your audience, right? Right, Doggie Diamonds and I know each other through a mutual friend. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. We didn't grow up together. We don't go back. Although you did call in one show before and we had dialogue. That's a fact. That was a while ago. So, and that's where I wanted to go. So, give me the full passage. Black according to science means death. I'm pretty sure it wasn't just cut and dry as that. What is the full passage to that?
No, that's it. I can show you in our questionnaire. I can show you right here. Okay. It's question 87. In our questionnaire, page 5. Hold on. There we go. Question 87.
Well, you know they can't see it. So who wrote that?
Prophet Noble Drew Ali wrote this. So question 87.
What year was that written?
Well, it was compiled and put together in the year 1928.
So why does that look like why does that look like the Lost Found Muslim lesson? Why? I mean, for real, why does it look like
that? Well, okay, I'll say this, right? The call, you know what it looks like? It looks like English lesson C1, right?
Yeah.
Right? It looks like English lesson C1. The call and response method of learning and education is something that goes all the way back to West Africa. But now remember, we're talking West Africa in the medieval period was still all Islamic. It wasn't Saudi Arabian Islam. Classical Islam was African. And so call and response was going on there. We brought call and response to the church. Church didn't invent that. Our people brought that. That's an African contribution. You see what I'm saying? So call and response, who made you? Allah. Who is Allah? Allah is the Father of the universe. Can we see him? No. Where's the nearest place we can meet him? In the heart. That's like, right? My name is W.F. Muhammad. I came to North America by myself. You see what I'm saying? That is a tried and proven ancient method of learning, and it speaks to the African psyche. It's a part of restoring the worldview and the mindset and the psychology that we lost, that was tortured out of us.
So you know 120 also, right?
Why so?
So what's the difference between the Quran and the Circle 7 Quran?
Dope. I'm going to begin with something that's said in the introduction to the Nation of Islam's Supreme Wisdom Lessons. It talks about the master of these lessons, and I'm paraphrasing, is the qualifier to open up the Bible and the Quran. This is why our people lost our old way of thinking. We lost, it was tortured out of us. The way we thought, in other words, our own narrative. So when we read the Bible or we read the Quran, we do it from the artificial narrative that's been planted in us. So the Nation of Islam has supreme wisdom. Moorish Science Temple of America has the Holy Quran and the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, and the Quran questionnaire. What is their purpose? Their purpose is to restore your old world narrative of your forefathers. So now when you read Bible, when you read the Quran in Arabic, you're reading it from the right perspective. You have your old world mindset back. That's the purpose. This isn't a book so much of information. This is a book to restore your forefathers' psychology. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I'm confused. What is our original language in your opinion?
Wow. Original language?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, that's difficult. And I'm going to tell you why it's difficult to answer, right? Let's take Africa. Africa, you have over
countries.
You got 54 nations, but let's go even deeper. You've got thousands of ethnic groups, distinct ethnic groups. There has never been a unified Africa until one particular period in time. Know when that was?
When
Islam came through and unified Africa. That is why people can be upset or angry about Islam or religion. But here's the historical fact. Europeans were scared to death of Africa because Islam unified it. The transatlantic slave trade was to break up the unifying factor. That's why Africans that were not Muslim were aiding Europeans and enslaving other Africans, not the way you got people telling it today in the conscious community. It was the other way around. The coastal Africans that were Christianized or who were not Islamic were helping the Portuguese. That's history.
So what was the language before? What was the okay. religion and the way of life before Islam?
So, well,
who brought Islam?
Muhammad brought Islam. Now, Muhammad, well, let's be very clear. Let's be very clear. Very clear. First, to answer that question, we have to ask, what is Islam?
Yes.
Islam is not a specific set of religious practices brought by Prophet Muhammad 1400 years ago. That's not what Islam is. Islam, and I want people to hear me clearly. Islam is an old ancient narrative that Muhammad returned people to. The same thing that Jesus did. Jesus was it was a renaissance. It's returning people to an old perspective, back to the straight path because we lost our way. This is important to understand. It's not a set of practices. You know how we can prove it's not a set of practices? All of Islam, including Saudi Arabia, say that Jesus was a Muslim. Jesus observed the Sabbath. Jesus was a part of a tradition that sacrificed animals. They don't do that in Islam today. So it can't be the practice that makes you a Muslim. What is the old narrative? Here's the old narrative, people. See, guess what? Present day Islam in Saudi Arabia has lost the narrative already. They lost it hundreds of years ago. Here's the narrative. One, monotheism, not that there's one God. That's not monotheism. Monotheism in the truest sense is that all is one. And all of creation is just fractions of oneness. So we don't say there's one God. We say God is one. Mathematics, one. And there is no such thing as oneness plus you. One. That's monotheism. And if God, if God is one, that means there's no separation between you and God. That means that Allah is from the never-ending, everlasting days of the past and never-ending days to come, and so is man. That's the old narrative. So that's what Jesus, when Jesus said, I and my Father are one, he was saying man is God. Then they wanted to stone him.
But, so let me ask you something. Is there heaven and hell? So when you say God,
absolutely.
is there go ahead.
But they're not places of meets and bounds. Heaven and hell are states of mind. So in our religion, so people think nowadays, because of Ray Hagans and other people, that religion is soft. And religious people are ignorant. Listen, how we do religion, heaven is a state of mind and a state of being. So we get our heaven right here, right now. That's our religion. See, our people are right by questioning a heaven or a hell that comes after you leave your physical form. They're correct. But to throw out the states of heaven and hell, no. My heaven, I can get right now. My heaven is a state of mind. And I want my heavenly state of mind to become my physical environment. That's why we're involved in politics. That's why we're involved in social affairs, economic affairs. You see what I'm saying? Because we build our heaven right here, right now.
Do you pray?
Absolutely.
Who do you pray to?
Allah, the oneness.
So does that mean that you pray to yourself?
My true self. So guess what that means? The same thing it means on the temple walls in ancient Egypt, know thyself. The implication is what? You don't know yourself. See? So the practice of prayer is the practice of approaching perfection. It's admitting, yes, man and Allah are one, but I don't fully know that yet, because if I did, all my problems would be solved. See that? My social and economic problems would be a snap. The fact that they're not means I don't know myself.
So what about the people who believe that or say that the Bible isn't real and even the Quran is not even real and never existed? What do you want to say to those people?
You have to read it and study it to be able to definitively say that. That's like people saying, Doggie Diamonds got a lucky break. You definitely ain't walked in Doggie Diamond shoes.
Hell no, and I ain't getting no lucky break.
See what I'm saying? See, all people see in the Nation of Islam, they have a lesson. What makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquake? You familiar, right? The moral of the answer, right? Water comes down, we see it. Rain comes down, we see it. You know what we don't pay attention to? When on that bright, hot, sunny day, it's going up. In other words, the average people pay attention to effect and not cause. The wise people tune into cause. They look at Doggie Diamonds and they're like, yo, that dude don't smile much at all. Now you see that? But in other words, what does that mean? Yo, he works hard. He's a serious guy. And to be that serious means he's been through some things. See what I'm saying? That's the wise, right? Those are the guys in the street that have gray hair. They have gray hair for a reason.
Yeah, one of them.
See?
I'm not even as old as people be, I think they look at the gray hair and they be like, yo, I'm not as old as some of your favorite people. I'm younger than them, but I've been through some shit. So does the devil exist?
Absolutely.
So is the devil a physical man, or is the devil somebody in the ground with pitchforks?
Well, the first thing, yes, but this is why. Is the devil a physical man? Yes, this is why. Because our thoughts create conditions. Those conditions create physical circumstances. Some of those physical circumstances, real flesh and blood people embody. Get it? So you got people in the hood that they ain't no good. And they just literally, they've decided that that's just who they're gonna be. See what I'm saying? They have become the embodiment of hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. That's a devil. But what devil really is each one of us has those capabilities inside of us. The question is, do you have the discipline to corral them and keep them locked, or you let them run wild? Our devil is our own lower self. Even the Nation of Islam teaches that. They say that the Caucasian or the European is they say he's the grafted devil. Well, if he's the grafted devil, who's the original devil? See?
I mean, Yaqub would definitely be considered to be the devil.
They say he was the father of. But what did he do? He extracted the lower self out of us and made it manifest. He created conditions where there would be the embodiment of our own lower self.
But mentally, he had the devil mentality already, though. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he already had the mentality to create the devil. You know what I'm saying?
He had the determined idea, right?
Yeah.
There you go. But now, watch this. Let's take this a step further. You ever lift your weights?
Who, me? I lift weights every day.
Cool. So, do you get stronger with somebody weaker than you or somebody stronger than you?
Repeat that.
Do you get stronger working out with somebody weaker than you or stronger than you?
I'm stronger than me.
Right. So, how do you look? Follow my analogy. It's time to go to the gym. You get in the gym and then you run away from the gym. You never get strong. Right? Devil just means adversary. Adversary means a foe. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. You need the devil so that you can exercise strength and become stronger and be the strength of God made manifest.
1 second. Somebody said gray hair means acidic. I'm about to kick you the fuck out my chat room. If y'all don't get out of here with that spooky, stupid shit, man. Don't come here with that, man. I don't, all that acidic, miss me with all that stupid shit. Period. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking animals with gray hair. They acidic. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking rabbits that don't eat nothing but grass. Just anyway, I'm not going to get distracted from the bill, but sometimes y'all just say dumb shit again because y'all regurgitate and don't research. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so let me ask you something also with these bills, what you're building on, what you're talking about, why doesn't this pique the interest of the average person? Why are they gonna look at this and say, man, nobody give a damn about none of that shit? Why is that?
You know why, Doggie? For the same reason they're not 50 Doggie Diamonds or 50 Hassan Campbells or 50 Sarnettas. Whether people like you all or not, you put in a ton of work to get where you are. The generality of people want comfort. They want benefit with no work. That's just general people. It's only a few people that understand that success is on the other side of struggle. So they rush towards the struggle. That takes a level of bravery, bro. That takes a level of, come on, man. Most people have not developed that. Usually when they do, it's because they're forced to.
Yeah.
Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this about our people. He said, our people, the Moors, are a hard-headed, stiff-necked, and rebellious people that never did anything except at the point of a sword. He's talking about the generality of our people. Usually we have to be forced to do something right. It's only a few, and this is not just with our people, this is people in general. It's only the small percentage that will do what's right because it's right to do.
What role do women play in the Moorish Science Temple of America?
The gender issue is not an Islamic issue at all. The Saudi Arabians made it or tried to make it an Islamic issue. That's their cultural issue, right? In the Moorish Science Temple of America during the time of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we're talking in the 1920s. You got to remember that even the European did not allow his own woman to vote until 1920.
Facts.
In 1928, there were women leaders in the Moorish Science Temple of America, a number of them. That was unheard of. This was during a time, you got to think about it, that generally, women were not looked at as clergy, as ministers. The Prophet was radical when it came to those types of things. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So those were not issues. You know, gender issues, gender equality issues were not issues in the Moorish Science Temple of America, and they're not now. We have, as a matter of fact, the national leadership in our organization is mostly women.
So when people identify with you, are there other denominations? Should when they look at you, is it Moorish Science Temple of America, Inc., or is it other Moorish Science Temple of America with different names?
What you had happen after Prophet Noble Drew Ali passed physically is that you had splinters in the organization. So what you have today is you have different groups or different groups under the same name or using the same name. It's become affectionately the term to call the one organization that the United States government recognizes as the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're called the Inc.
Okay.
See?
So my next question is, are you familiar with Jeff Fort?
Very.
What is the correlation between Jeff Fort, El Rukin, and the Moorish Science Temple of America?
Very similar to our brother, Father Allah, Clarence 13X Smith, in the Nation of Islam.
Got you.
Very similar, but let's just get some more detail, right? And, you know, shout out to my brothers in Chicago, especially on the South Side, Stony Island Avenue, right? So Jeff Fort and Eugene Hairston, back in the 60s, part of a small street crew, right? You know, off of Blackstone Avenue. Later facilitated a conglomerate of 21 other street crews. And the leaders of each one formed a commission called the Main 21. That was the foundation of what's called Black Peace Stone Nation. Right? Long story short, to this point, they were courted by certain non-for-profit organizations and social help organizations. And those organizations use them, in a sense, you know, to show social progress, to the tune of getting federal grants for job training programs and things like that. But one of the first grants that Black Peace Stone got was like 1.2 million for a job training program. The enemies of those same group organizations then targeted, as in a war against, you know, other organizations going on in Chicago, they targeted Black Peace Stone. And not just Black Peace Stone, targeted also, you know, the Honorable Chairman Larry Hoover, right, with GDs, who are also doing similar work, right? Long story short, Jeff Fort finds himself in a congressional hearing about mismanagement of federal funds. He gets convicted. 2 weeks later, he's invited to President Nixon's inauguration. He ends up going to Fort Leavenworth. There was a Moorish science to anybody who's been to the feds knows that in New York, in the state correctional facilities, who's big? Damu's 5% nation, big Nation of Islam. In the feds, Moorish science to So he runs into the prison ministry. He comes out, he says, okay, there's Black Peace Stone, and then there's Aswad al-Rukan, there's the Il Rukin. We're Moorish Americans, we wear the fez, da 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 da. That's how that happened.
So, but to this day, do y'all still carry the same flag, right? Like they still use the Moorish American flag?
The same way that
is that the Moorish American flag or the flag of Morocco?
One and the same.
Okay.
Some people would disagree with me, whatever. It's a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center.
Okay. So how do y'all differentiate yourself from them?
Okay, good question. We're a part, see, 1956 from 1912, the Treaty of Fez in 1912 to 1956, Morocco went through a transformation. Remember, you're talking during this time period, the civilized world was going through the transformation from empires to nation states. Morocco was no different. Morocco went into the occupation, France and Spanish occupation, as an empire. In 1956 became a kingdom, a nation state. We are descendants of the members of the African diaspora that was part of the empire. Today, you have the Kingdom of Morocco, nation state. Is there a relation? Yes. Is there a relation recognized by the King of Morocco? Yes. Contrary to what other people may think or believe. There is a connection, and they recognize the connection. Because history is history. We're not making this up. It's not, oh, Black people trying to be other than what they are. No, there's a real connection. They know it, we know.
Somebody sent in a super chat, they want to know, do you rock with Dr. York? If not, why?
I'm not sure. Dr. York is our brother.
Okay.
He's our brother. I'm not going to speak radical against Dr. York. People know his history, especially those of us in New York. We know his history. You know, so here's the thing. I'll just say this. There's Doggie Diamonds, and then there's the things that Doggie Diamonds has done. We are not our experience. Can I be judged by what I've done? Absolutely. But I'm not my experience. I've done some crazy things. I've done some bad things. I've done some good things. I don't want to be judged by my bad things.
Got you. Somebody telling me to read the chat. No, I'm not reading the chat. And other YouTube channels, they send in super chats. They actually put bread in there, and then people read that shit. I'm just not gonna be just sitting here reading shit that y'all spewing when y'all go to other channels and give people $3,000-$4,000 a night. Fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Fuck out of here. I got $15 in my shit, but fuck, I'm gonna be sitting here talking to y'all.
Right.
Next question. Why is more spelled what is the spelling, the M-U-U-R? Is that more also?
Everybody wants to be different, brother. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not gonna knock it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're talking about translation of something, let's say from Arabic to English, let's just say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say even from Chinese, let's make it even more extreme, from Chinese to English. Chinese doesn't have an alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
They have ideograms, they have characters. So the translation is phonetic, what it sounds like. So M-U-U-R, M-O-O-R, M-A-R, it all sounds the same. I'm not hung up on it. You want to say M-U-U-R? Go ahead. See? But if I'm a part of Doggie Diamonds team, and it's Doggie Diamonds team, and I say, yeah, you know, I'm part of Doggie Diamonds team, but he got to put the Z on the end of that diamond.
Shit, you out of here.
See my point?
If you put a Y on my name, you piss me off. I don't know if people know that. When you spell my name D-O-G-G-Y, I never respond to you. When people be like, yo, peace, Doggie. Yo, I'm a follower of everything you do, and I respect you. No, you're not, because you spell my name wrong. So first and foremost, the correct spelling of my name is one of the biggest signs of respect that you could ever give somebody. When you spell somebody's name wrong, then you're not a part of shit. So
okay, see, now we're speaking to the spirit of the thing, brother. If I say, okay, I'm down with Doggie Diamonds team, but I'm putting the Z on the end, then what am I demonstrating? I'm not really down with your team. I'm demonstrating the spirit of disunity. I'm demonstrating the spirit, I want to do my own thing. Yeah. Okay, get out there and do your own thing.
Got you.
See, that's the whole thing we're talking about. It takes discipline. It takes a real desire to unify with my brother, not no fake stuff. For me to say, okay, Doggie Diamonds, that's the team. I'm on it. That's it. But when I want to get in it and then flip it and bounce it my own way, I'm not for unity.
So, politics. You believe that we should vote. You believe that we should be in politics. You believe that we should be in local, state, government politics. We should vote. We should be city council. We should do all that. The average person would say, I'm not voting for the lesser evils. I'm not voting for none of that. Why do you believe we should be in politics?
Here it is. Here it is, bro. Right? Let's just start with very simple strategy. Let's take it from an adversarial perspective, since everybody feels like if we ain't fighting, we're not down for the cause. Okay, so let's take it from that perspective. You got to first know where the fight is. You got to know where the fight is, right? You got to know what the fight is. You don't show up to the football game with a basketball jersey. But that's what people are doing. They don't even know where the fight is. They're looking at the effect and not the cause. Nationality determines political status. I would rather be arguing about how the laws are formed on behalf of my community than arguing with a judge after the law is made in the court. Makes sense to me. You see what I'm saying? You can only do that if you're a participant. You see? Here's the other part, right? The political game is dirty, but politics and government are not the same. Government is management. What does it manage? Money, services. Whose money and services? Yours. You pay into it, whether you like it or not. You see? So it's your money that government is managing. Who chooses the managers? The people. How? Voting. So if you don't vote, you made a decision anyway. It means you don't care who manages your money and your services on your behalf. So when it does get managed and you have complaints about it, you can't say nothing.
All the way up to the presidential.
And the president is the only, you said something very key, local. The president is the only elected seat that is not local. Everything else is local. What Trump did when he was in office, we're not going to really feel until 4 or 5 years later. What your common council in your city does today, you feel tomorrow. See how that works? And so, in other words, the political game is how you change the social landscape. That's why it's so dirty. Hold on. You get locked up and you do a bid. What do they take from you?
Your freedom.
But more specific, okay, that, but they take from you the right to what? Bear arms and the
vote.
what?
Vote.
Why? If you can Google this right now, you can Google the words, right?
Mm-hmm.
White supremacist, castrate, kill, prevent from voting. And you will see an entire article pop up of a white supremacist group operating within law enforcement, and those were their 3 objectives: kill Black men, castrate them, prevent them from voting. And the purpose of them, framing people, getting people locked up, was so that you would have that stigma and you could no longer participate in changing the social landscape. That is the biggest fear. That's the number one reason why across the country you've got quote unquote white suburbia trying to retake the urban centers. That's why, to dilute the voting power of the urban center, which is overwhelmingly us. But we don't participate, so they're trying to get it before we figure it out.
Where are the Moors today? Because we can see the Nation, they're out there selling papers. We can see some of the Hebrew brothers that are on the corner. They got camps. They're propagating on the corner. Where are the Moorish brothers at?
They're around, and you don't see, we're not as visible yet as the Nation has been, right? We're enjoying a resurgence. The visibility that you see with the Nation, if this was the 40s and the 50s, it would be the Moorish Science Temple of America. There's people, matter of fact, to show you what I mean by that, you can pull up white pages, residential phone numbers and addresses in St. Louis, in Philadelphia, in Pittsburgh especially, and a number of other cities that were very strong back in the 30s and 40s. You will see 2nd and 3rd generation Beys and Ills. It's crazy. You see what I'm saying? Now, we're enjoying a resurgence. So what you're seeing is people finding the Moorish Science Temple of America. People in the Moorish Science Temple of America starting to flex their muscle and come outside the temple into the community. You're starting to see that again. You see, it was a lull for a while, but you're starting to see it now. So you don't see it as much now, but in the coming weeks and months and years, you're going to really start to see it. I'll give an example. Shout out to my brothers at Temple number 5, St. Louis, Missouri, right? When the whole thing happened with the riots out there over our brother getting murdered by the cops, they were front line. Matter of fact, many of you saw my brother T. Anderson Bey or T. Anderson Ill on the cover of Newsweek magazine. He had the glasses on with the red fez holding his hands up like that. They were the ones that were the buffer between the police and the protesters. They won awards for that. Yes, sir.
How do you determine whether your surname is going to be Bey or L?
There's a number of, the way the custom in the organization is that your grand chief determines that.
Got you.
You come in the organization.
Of
course, there's people of course, there's people that have taken on those names outside of the organization and not members of the organization. I'm not mad at that. But like I said, you know why I'm not mad at that? It's because part of the function of the organization is to broadcast the identity. So can you be a Moorish American and not be a member of the Moorish? Absolutely. Does a Chinese man have to join a Chinese organization to be Chinese? No.
What about the people who might put a bad stigma on it based off their ways and action?
That's a bad thing. And that's another reason why the organization exists. Because remember, we're talking about quality and character, not paperwork being filed. Quality and character, how you act, how do you treat each other? You see what I'm saying? That's how you want to talk about, if we would say real Moorish American, it's character. It's not what you know. It ain't because you know the trickle-down theory, you know the color of every chakra and what planet they align to. It's how you treat your brother. Can I trust you around my children?
What is the
Can I trust you with my money?
What is the agenda for Moorish Science Temple of America?
Unity at all costs. The objective or the primary objective is to unify our people in America. And this is what I mean by unify. Hip hop music, urban music accounts for 33% of music sales worldwide. 33% of that is urban music. But in America, we know that 70% of that is bought by Europeans in the suburbs. But here's the deeper part. They only buy what we in the hood say is hot. So who has the power? We do. What are we doing with it? Giving it up to everybody else. We are walking money.
Super Chat came in. Low Key says, in my opinion, we should use the race, national, original more with the Moorish flag. With a Moorish flag over Moorish American with the U.S. flag. I'm not really understanding what he's saying. In my opinion, we should use the
race, national origin more with a Moorish flag, Moorish American over Moorish American with the U.S. flag. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily mad at that, but there's a reason why. Like when you see members of the organization, you see the Moorish flag and you see the American flag.
Got you.
This is why, because that's core American values. When you look on the back of that dollar bill and it has the Latin phrase "e pluribus unum," meaning out of many one, meaning one nation made up of people that came from many nations, meaning every American citizen to answer up to the constitutional standard has to have an old world connection. Our history was robbed, therefore our old world connection was robbed. So how are we looked at today in American society? Descendants of products of American commerce, slavery, instead of contributors to the American experience like everybody else. So every American citizen has two flags, flag of their origin and flag of their birth. See?
How can you get our people to trust government?
Listen, I don't trust government, but I got to participate if I want it to change.
But how long? Come on, bro. Like, how long have we been trying to change the government? What are we talking about?
But here's the problem. And you're right, but here's the problem. If we think about it, brother, I gave that example about urban music. That much money and it doesn't benefit us collectively. See that? We don't practice Man, look at Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was an example of collective economics.
What's one thing they didn't have? What's one thing Black Wall Street didn't have?
You ready?
Yep.
They were forced into that through Jim Crow.
But what's one thing that they didn't have though? Because I like when people bring up Black Wall Street because I love it. But what's one thing they didn't have?
I don't know. Tell me.
An army to protect Black Wall Street.
Now that's deep. That's deep. The defense, because they fought.
Yeah, not saying they didn't. Not saying they didn't. But it's again, you're a martial arts teacher. Like it's different. The Nation of Islam, they have to be physical fit. They have to, that's the one thing that our people tend not to have is the discipline, the physical fitness, and the how to shoot guns and defend yourself. We know how to be offensive and go angry and go on but when it comes to people coming to attack us, a lot of times we don't know how to unify and defend unless you're a part of a certain organization. So go ahead.
That's right. Now, here's another thing that took place. I want to add another dimension relative to the topic we're on about Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was rebuilt after 1921 because Jim Crow still existed. Why does Black Wall Street not exist today? Integration. We voluntarily walked away from it. See that? We walked away from it. We said the Europeans' grass was greener.
We do that to this day, though.
See that? So what nationality brings is that love. Like when you see our Puerto Rican brothers go to jail, what happens when they get in the lockup? Their brothers embrace them. We got you. We over here in this corner. This is where we don't rock with those dudes over there. What is it when our people go? Every man for himself. You feel like a cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
I mean, it's evident when you see what's going on because we're here building. Whether you agree with the build or not, it's still a build. And if in this hour mark that we're on right now, you might be able to take something 1 minute, 30 seconds from it that you didn't know, or something you knew and confirm what you said. But other people, my other counterparts on this platform, this space, that's of a different hue, they could talk about anything and it's going to get hundreds of thousands of views. And I'm like, damn, look at what our people care about. Like, again, if you don't, how you not at least peek in, how you don't at least peek in and say, well, I heard that the Moors were Masons and all that. Well, that got dispelled or whatever the case may be in part 1. But my thing is, the issue that I have with our people, and it's always going to be an issue. I don't know how, when it's going to change, but I'm not going to stop doing what I do.
Right.
We just want to be entertained in anything that doesn't teach us in the form of entertainment. We don't grasp it. It has to have a beat to it. It got to have a dance to it. It got to have something to it for us to grasp it. And a lot of times when you get that sort of entertainment, it's just that.
It's just that.
It's just that. It's entertainment, and it's so incorrect because the person a lot of time who giving you the entertainment, they're doing what I say all the time. They regurgitate it and didn't research. So a lot of times when people say, well, such and such said, and I always be like, yo, but what make they mouth a prayer book? Show me where they got it from. And again, and if you can't give me sources, then I just don't listen to you. Got to give me a source.
We don't vet people. We vet sources. It's not a personality concept.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, this is not for anybody to become a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is not for you to join Nation Islam. This is not even for you to join me. This is just information because, again, outside of a lot of our Moorish brothers having their own platform, we don't hear from them on other platforms, and they don't get questioned about certain things because when you have your own platform, nobody's going to question you. You're just going to teach. But now we're here to ask different questions, and I feel like I asked many questions that y'all wanted to know.
You asked great questions, bro.
Yeah. That's why I'm the interview king. But I'm just saying, like, it's and again, I just think that, we talked about Prodigy earlier. We talk about different things on certain platforms, but we got to get out of that dance. We got to get out of partying. Like we partied a lot, but we have to get into learning. And again, even in this bill, if you do not agree with anything in the bill, go research it and then hit him on social media and be like, nah, and this right in the third, because that's how we're going to learn.
Please hit me up. If you disagree, if you agree, it doesn't matter. And that's another thing. Anything, I had to say this to somebody yesterday who didn't agree. They said, well, you wouldn't say that to so-and-so. I said, I don't got to say it to so-and-so. I already debunked the sources of so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, I'm not just talking. We're part of a research team. We have books and published work and peer-reviewed work.
Mm-hmm.
So and again, this isn't to be adversarial or confrontational. You disagree? Fine. Hit me up personally. I'll send you the research. Vet the sources. It ain't me. Vet the source.
Yeah. All right. So anybody you want to shout out, anything you feel like we didn't cover, this is your time.
Nah, this is great. I like this one even better than the last ones, but in terms of, let me see, shout outs. What you said about Prodigy, I have to agree 100%.
Facts. Shout out to Taj Mahal also. Shout out to Taj Mahal.
Oh, shout out to, that's my brother.
Yeah.
Shout out. Oh, hold on. I got to say this for the world and say this to you, Doggy. He can't use the word. He got sued for the name. He got sued for Taj Mahal.
So what does he use now? Just Taj?
He got sued for Taj Mahal. So he goes by Great God. GREA, the number 8.
Gotcha.
GAWD. Great God.
All right, Taj Mahal. It's gonna take us a minute. It's gonna take me a minute to get on that, but if that's his name,
right.
It is what it is. So shout out to him. Before we go, Tariq Wasulu Bey says Islam and honors to Doggy for having Sharif Bey on nationally economics and self-sufficiency and the keys to freedom of our people. What we have to do with our platforms, because they remove them from us. They remove them from us.
Yes.
While we have the time to talk and say something, we have to say something, even if we sneak it in amongst some of the, the tomfoolery and the having fun and all that. We have to sneak some stuff in that's going to be thought provoking. And again, it's not about agreeing. It's not about even arguing. It's just about just straight up and down perspectives.
Yes.
Because if he doesn't tell the story of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they're going to tell the story. And when they tell the story, they're going to insert their self in it and act like the creators of everything. So that's the issue that I have with a lot of stuff. And we have to start telling our stories directly from our mouth, directly from our people, and that's what oral traditions are, and everything. Once they get a hold of it, they're gonna bastardize it. They're gonna say, they're gonna rewrite history. So again, we don't speak enough of our history. We don't speak enough of our present. We don't speak enough of our future. And when we don't speak, they're going to speak, and then they lessen and weaken our voice. I always give y'all the analogy: the person with the megaphone always sound right.
Always.
Yeah. The person with the megaphone, and they have the megaphone all the time. So again, while we have our channels, I don't have 4 million like other people, but these people that y'all respect and you go watch their content, they will never ever do this.
There you go.
They will never ever give you anything that might give you some type of history, because again, whether you agree with the doctrine, it's still giving you the history of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Because if not, the Caucasians gonna write the books.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? They're gonna write the books, and then when they write the books, they're gonna put everything under the sun in there, and it might not even be true. So why not take the knowledge from somebody who actually is a part of it?
Thank you.
That's all. That's all I can say.
To your point, bro, half of the stuff that we end up debunking is brought by our people that came from European sources.
Facts. Yeah.
Crazy. They bring us crazy stuff. And I'm like, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this. He would honor you, Doggie Diamonds. This is why. He said in the Moorish Guide newspaper that our greatest weapon is our own press, our own media.
I keep telling
exactly what you just said, because we get to tell our story. Why would we depend on somebody else to tell our story?
They always say, tell lies to the vision, the press, the media. And I say, well, we got our own, but y'all don't even support it. Y'all still talking about what the Post said or Shade Room said and all that. Come on, man. Like, again, we don't have to, again, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Y'all got the clean glass of water next to y'all, but y'all still be drinking from that dirty one. Michael Young Bay says, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Yeah, shout out to you. So, Sharif, give on your social media one more time.
Yeah, you find me on the gram at Life of a Grand Sheik. Also find me at Sharif Bey. Find me on Facebook. Hit me up. The one of the things, tell you what, I got a special treat for your audience. The 2016 April 10th debate with Brother Reggie. Right? You hit me up. You hit me up before 12 midnight and send me your Gmail account. I will send you the entire presentation slide deck for free. Anytime after that, you got to pay me $25. Catch at me $25.
So at Sharif,
before 12, I get it to you free.
So at Sharif Bey.
Yes.
On Instagram.
On Instagram. Email me your Gmail account or DM me your Gmail account. I'll send it to you. All
right. So with that, I'm Doggie Diamonds. Thank you for joining me. We're going to do this again. There's more situations and stuff. This was just an introduction to who you are. I'm going to pin his Instagram on the top comment. So make sure you follow him and stay in tune with his movement and what he got going on. I'll holler at you later on. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Yes, peace.
Peace.
All right, y'all. So that was part 2 of my interview with Brother Sharif Bey. I thank y'all for joining me tonight. Go watch part 1. They're in conjunction. So go from part 1 right into part 2. It's not like it's 50 hours. It's 2 hours of your life. If you could watch Power and you could watch all them other wacky, crazy ass shows, you could just sit there and watch. And again, I see some Hebrew Israelite brothers in the building. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody that's in the struggle for our people. I don't care what type of garb you wear. I don't care what type of hat you wear. I don't care what you're wearing. As long as you're in the struggle for our people, I salute you. There's no right and wrong way to fight for our people. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're in the fight. So with that, I'll build with y'all later on. I am out of here until I'll be back tomorrow. You already know. Make sure you click subscribe, youtube.com/Doggie Diamonds TV. Until next time, peace.